EQWealth.com. I'm Rod Tanner.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and it must be Friday. And indeed it is. It's the last Friday of July. Hard to believe this year is just flying by, and if you've never heard our show before, our show, Health Futures, is a show about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And how do we do that? We do that by bringing extraordinary guests to the show. And today's no different. I have an extraordinary guest here today, and I want to just jump right into it because usually I talk a little bit about the premise of the show, and we've got a lot of material to cover. I have Tom Egan. He is the CEO of Foundation for Senior Living. This is a not-for-profit social service organization that has been around for over 44 years, and they are making differences in people's lives every single day. So, Tom Egan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Bob.
Well, it's good to have you. And, FSL, which is the acronym that everyone knows, it is in the older adult care business, if you would, social service organizations in that world.
Right.
Is about helping your fellow brother, helping your sister, helping the community. I think of FSL as Foundation for Senior Living, but I'm looking at your website, faith, service, and life. I mean, FSL can mean so many different things.
Yeah, we really started shifting to that acronym, if you will, and then using the tagline of, we're a faith-based charity. We provide a wide array of services, and we help people age throughout their life. I think originally when we started 40-plus years ago, we really started with senior services for people with disabilities. But over the years, you really start to expand, and I think last year our youngest person we helped was 3. Our oldest was 103. Like, not everyone's a senior.
Wow.
And and so the majority is. I would say 65% of the people we take care of are seniors. But we really help Arizonans of all ages. So that was sort of the shift to the acronym.
Nice. And I want you to just, if you wouldn't mind, for our listening audience, because we'll dive into a lot of the stuff that you guys do, but tell our listening audience a little bit about Foundations for Senior Living. What is Foundation for Senior Living? How did you get started? And you guys have so many different verticals that you're involved in, and if you could explain to our listening audience, that'd be great.
The easiest way I've found to explain FSL is providing a wide array of services to help people age in place, stay in their own home. So the two biggest things we do are we are a developer of affordable housing around the state of Arizona, Phoenix and into the rural communities. And then the other big piece is providing community-based health and social services. So a nice continuum of services to meet people where they're at, help them achieve that goal of really aging in place in their own home.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, and that really, as I know it, I know more the second tier of that, the community-based service work that you guys do.
Yeah.
And when I think about the community service work that you do, I think about, obviously, the older adult world. And one of the areas that you are very proficient in is you have these senior living communities, not so much communities, but the adult daycare centers.
Yeah, adult daycare or adult day health services, as we call it, is really, I think, one of the signature programs. So we have 3 facilities throughout Maricopa County. We have one in Tempe, we have one in Phoenix, and we have one in Glendale. We're actually we're in the middle of a capital campaign to replace that Glendale facility, move it a little further northwest, modernize the facility, provide a place that really honors people's dignity and helps them maintain that independence. So adult day is, I think, an utilized and maybe misunderstood service in our community. So let's say you've got mom or dad living with you, and you still work full time, as I know, and you're able to provide that care for them after hours, but you need a safe place for them to go during the day while you're at work. Adult day health services can be a really cost-effective option for them. So we try to keep the cost at about half of what bringing a caregiver into your own home would be. Mm-hmm. We do transportation, pick people up. There are. It's licensed like a medical facility. So you have nurses, you have recreational therapists, you have social workers, you have professionals on staff to provide a really enriching environment. Do a lot of the activities. We can work with the doctor's orders to do some therapies while the person is there, and we try to keep them open more than 8 hours a day. So if it's 6 to 6 or 7 to 7, trying to have a safe place for people to go, get that therapeutic needs met, but also their physical health and their socialization needs. We provide a lot of meals. So really, again, just a way to help somebody improve.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about the socialization needs. And we know statistically we have many people that are aging in place, mm-hmm. and they are dealing with social isolation. Right. And, you talk about, families that, may be working where they could have their parents or loved ones come and visit the adult health care. I want to make sure I say it right.
We say adult day health services.
Adult day health services. Attend one of those. Mm-hmm. There are people that may not even have families, but need to get out, and they need that social interaction because they miss that. And we need places like what you guys have to do that.
Well, we really see there's three distinct populations I see at one of our adult day health centers. So you have young adults. Often we're seeing people with traumatic brain injuries. Surprisingly, a lot of them are due to car accidents or getting hit by a drunk driver. Somebody winds up with traumatic brain injury. Life's completely changed. So I see a lot of young adults in our facilities. And then you have the early onset memory disorders, 40, 50-year-olds, which gets scary when you get into our age group of getting those early, memory disorders is very scary. And then the over 65, wide array of chronic health conditions, and they need a lot of assistance. So I really see those three distinct groups in one of our facilities. So again, it's trying to provide services for all of them and letting them self-select if they want to go to things. So I was in our Glendale facility a few weeks back, and the 92-year-old woman who's there, who would probably take a swing at me if I called her a senior. She goes to the young adult programming because she doesn't want to hang out with the old people.
Got it. Awesome. No, and that's great. I mean, but you think about it. Baby boomers are now finding themselves as older adults, right? And I'm a baby boomer. I would never think of myself as being a senior. It's crazy. But I will say at the same time, you guys provide this incredible service. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many people frequent the adult day health centers? Do you have a
each one of them is licensed because it's licensed like a medical facility. You can have up to 99 people per day at the facility. So we have clients who come. Maybe they just need 1 day a week. Maybe their family needs a respite. They need a break 1 day a week to do errands, do whatever they may need to do for self-care, which is, caregivers don't always take care of. Or we have other folks who literally come all 5 days a week because, again, if their family is or caregiver is working, they need that safe place. So we try to work with the family. So I would say across the three centers, probably around 1,000 people a year across all three centers because some people are coming 1 day, some people are coming all 5 days.
It's really important for our listening audience. If you have a loved one that is socially isolated during the day and mm-hmm. could benefit from the activities, the therapies that might be offered in your adult day health centers, mm-hmm. How do they reach you?
So I always tell people, whatever the issue that someone needs, just call us. Our phone number is 602-285-1800 or on the web, fsl.org. We have social workers and care navigators who literally can be that first point of contact. They get something like 300 phone calls a month where someone's calling saying, can I talk to somebody about my mom or my dad or my husband or wife? and let the social worker and his team figure out, okay, how do I connect this person to the right service in their community, whether it's something that we provide or someone else provides. We want to be that community navigator and help people find the right service.
I love it.
Doesn't have to be us.
Right.
We need to figure out what does the family need.
No, I love it.
And they're really good at that.
And we try to do the same thing at Cypress. And I want you to know, and I want our listening audience to know, FSL.org. It's a robust website. Everything you could ever possibly want to know is right there. I also see that you're powered by Fast Turtle.
Yes.
And we are as well. And Eric Olson is someone I've known for a number of years, so a shameless plug. Eric Olson, Fast Turtle, does a really fantastic job.
Yeah, he's become a friend over the years.
Yes, and indeed as well for me. And I want to just thank you. We're going to get ready to wind down our first segment. We're going to get a second segment started, but I really appreciate you teeing it off and really talking about the adult day health centers, because I really think that we have people listening in right now that they're probably thinking about their own loved ones that could maybe benefit from being a part of this adult day health center. So, Tom, thank you very much. Stay tuned. We're getting ready to close our first segment. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth. And I've got Tom Egan here in the studio. He's the CEO of Foundation for Senior Living, FSL, otherwise known as Faith, Service, and Life. I am still so programmed into Foundation for Senior Living. That's why I say it that way.
No problem.
We will be right back.
Join certified financial planner Nancy Fleming this and every Wednesday afternoon as she joins me for Financial Review. Nancy and I discuss an array of topics from Social Security, taxes, to what types of obstacles you can and will face in retirement. So join Nancy every Wednesday afternoon at 4:35 for the Financial Review. Want more, Nancy? Be sure to tune in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for My Smart Retirement, right here on Money Radio.
The following update is for drivers who pay too much for car insurance due to DUIs, DWIs, tickets, or anything else. By now, you know all too well that SR22 auto insurance is way more than you'd ever want to pay. You probably thought you didn't have a choice, but you were wrong. Our company specializes in low-cost, very affordable SR22 auto insurance for high-risk drivers. We know that mistakes happen, so take pride in being able to offer absolutely free quotes for this very affordable auto insurance meant specifically for you, the overpaying high-risk driver. We're standing by at 800-749-2984. The only thing you need to do is stop waiting around while your monthly payments stay as high as they are. Our knowledgeable representatives are ready for your call at 800-749-2984. The quote is free, and we'll even handle the filings so you could start saving money every month even sooner. Call 800-749-2984. That's 800-749-2984. Once more, 800-749-2984.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Learn how to get your book idea published, sold online, and at bookstores. Call now for your free guide. 800-470-4833. 800-470-4833.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and if you're just tuning in, we are on our second segment here. I've got Tom Egan, the CEO of FSL, here in the studio, and we were talking on the first segment, we were talking about the adult day health centers that FSL has. They have 3 of them across the valley, and we were really talking about social isolation and how our older adult population really could use that interaction with others, and these facilities are phenomenal. There are 3. Where are they located again?
One's in Tempe, one in Phoenix, and one in Glendale in the West Valley.
So we kind of strategically got them placed across Maricopa County,
yes,
which is awesome. And the one in Glendale, as Tom said, they're looking at moving maybe a little further to the west and modernizing it. So if you're listening in and you want to maybe donate to FSL, how do we do that? Because you are a not-for-profit,
We
right?
are. We're a not-for-profit organization. We qualify for the Arizona Charitable Tax Credit. So donation to FSL, which you can make on our website, fsl.org, qualifies for that Arizona state tax credit. And you can actually get dollar for dollar up to $800 for a married couple back.
Nice.
Which is a fantastic thing that we do in the state of Arizona.
It is unbelievable. I think we're like the only state that does that.
I'm not aware of anyone else who does it.
And I got to tell you, we talked about the website that Fast Turtle hosts. It is a little orange button up on the top right-hand side says donate, and they really, really value their donors. They depend on their donors to provide these services that they provide here in the Valley and have been doing it for 44 years.
Yes.
So I want to pivot and a little bit talk about older adults, because that's the world that we live in at Cypress HomeCare Solutions, and we talk about it here at Health Futures all the time, is about our aging population. We know statistically 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day. That's about 3.6 million a year. This is going to keep going up till I think it's 2029.
Right.
So we're not even there yet. We still got another 12 years left or 11 years left of doing this, and we are aging at a rate that we've never, ever seen before. I've talked about it here on the show. Dr. Ken Dykewald, he made a statement back during the 2016 election, and it was very profound in the sense it was in his position paper, and it was his positioning statement saying that 2/3 of our planet's population that has ever lived to the age of 65 or older is alive right now.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I mean, that's the crazy part of it. And I really look to FSL, who has been, a social service organization, has been here so long and seen so much change, as to how do we help this aging population. And it was interesting because you said about that person that would have taken a shot at you if you called her a senior. Baby boomers are turning 65 and they're getting older. And, I mean, you think about 1948 being the very beginning of that stage. These folks now are 70, and they're going to be 75 before you know it, and they'll be 80 by the time the end of the baby boomers get there. I had Cole Marvin, who is the executive director for Friendship Village over there in Tempe, and one of the things that he shared with us is that they just did a $2 million renovation to their facility, and they built a sports bar. And I said to him, a sports bar. And he says, oh, yeah, we got like 8 big screen TVs, and, that's what the residents wanted. And I said, what really promoted you to do that? And he says, because we're caring for baby boomers. We have baby boomers that are in our community. So, there really is a shift. I mean, it's no longer the silent generation. It's no longer the greatest generation.
Right.
We are aging in that whole new demographic area. So what do you see, Tom? What do you see our future looking like? And how can social service organizations like yours and agencies like mine be able to provide for this aging population?
Yeah, I think the one that's really interesting, and you mentioned one of the assisted living communities. I think that industry is going through a bit of a change, because where people used to go and move into a community and maybe live for 20, 30 years, research is telling us now that 87% of people want to age in place. They want to stay in their own home. So how do they do that? In a lot of cases, it's using a service like yours, where it's bringing caregivers into the home to maybe help with some of those activities that help the person to maintain their independence. That's, I think, a huge one. It's a very cost-effective way for people to maintain their independence. But you've really got to look at the home itself. I think that's where you really start. If you're looking at your own home or your loved one's home, have someone like us or an expert really come look at, is the home safe? Are there trip and fall hazards? Are there something Are there hazards within the home that are going to be barriers to that person living there? If you've got a 2-story home, the bedroom's on the 2nd floor, that home's probably not the place you're going to be able to have an extended aging in place. Maybe you're looking at downsizing, going to a 1-story home, or can the bedroom be on the 1st floor? Is there bathrooms on the 1st floor? Do you have solid surfaces? So that's, I think, an important part you want to look at.
So we're talking about home modification.
Absolutely.
To be able to age successfully in place. And, that is one of the services that FSL does provide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting is I love, and I don't know how old it is now. It's probably maybe 10 years old. You built that caregiver house on your campus.
Yes, yeah.
And that caregiver house on campus, it's one thing for somebody to talk about home modifications, but you probably have a lot of people that come in and tour that so they can get ideas as to how they can modify their home.
Yeah, so if there's somebody who wants to, just call us, come down to the office, we can have somebody take them through the caregiver house. It was really set up as a demonstration lab. So we took a house. On one side of the house, really did some cost-effective modifications with durable medical equipment that's available in the market. There are some newer things, but you get the concepts for the idea, and you can really look at some cost-effective modifications you can make to someone's home or things to think about. On the other side, we really went just universal design. If you were just going to take it down to the studs and start over, what are some of the things that you'd want to think about and put into place? And we have really some expertise on staff who can help people do that. We can introduce people to contractors who do that sort of work. That's not necessarily something that we would do. We have a lot of contracts to do modifications with different municipalities for some low-income homeowners. But, as you know, when you start talking about social services, the needs in the community always outweigh the ability we have to help people.
Exactly.
But we can also get people introduced to folks. I remember talking to a gentleman not that long ago where they were concerned. The presenting issue was they were concerned about dad's hygiene, so they thought, you need to go into a home. Well, when we actually talked to him, what you find is he fell in the bathroom, so he was afraid to go in there because he was afraid he's going to fall again.
Right.
He doesn't need to go into a assisted living or a nursing community
just so he can use a bathroom.
Just so he need the just
exactly.
Just make some modifications in the bathroom.
Right.
And once we figured that out, we were able to help the family. They were in a situation where they could make the modifications themselves, which was great. But just having that conversation to be able to talk about it instead of jumping to the conclusion of, need to get mom or dad out of the home. Maybe not.
Well, the nice thing, too, is you sat there and talked about it. I mean, the last segment you talked about calling your number 602-285-1800, and you get a navigator, a trained social service social worker that can help you navigate to the solutions. And and the nice thing is that, you do a lot of this on the more grander scales. But if I were calling you about hey, I need to do a modification on my bathroom, you could refer me to some people that could do that.
We know enough people that we like and we trust that aren't going to rip people off, that we can make an appropriate referral. As I mentioned, we can't do everything, so let's try to build that network of good people who can do good work.
And we see those commercials for like Rebath and other places, and I mean, it is scary, but it's also nice to know that you've got an organization that's been here for 44 years, and they can make a really good referral that they trust.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Health Futures. We're at halftime here with Tom Egan from FSL, the CEO. Stick around. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
The nation's economy grew at a healthy 4.1% in the second quarter, and President Trump predicts it will get better from here.
As the trade deals come in one by one, we're going to go a lot higher than these numbers, and these are great numbers.
Maya McGinnis, head of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, worries the tax cuts will boost the deficit.
There's no question this is a really strong top-line number, but just about everybody, probably with the exception of those in the White House, think that this is a temporary blip.
The growth was the biggest we've seen since 2014. A federal judge says he is unlikely to issue a gag order stopping the lawyer for porn actress Stormy Daniels from discussing her lawsuit against President Trump with reporters and the public. Attorney Michael Avenatti also says he has 3 new clients who all claim affairs with Donald Trump and say they were given hush money before the 2016 election. The Dow is down 92, S&P down 20. I'm Mike Moss.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
All right, everyone. You're probably doing something right now like working or fishing or driving or building a 3-story doghouse. So I'll keep this short. Peanuts, caramel. That's what's in a payday bar. Simple. Nuts, that's power food. Caramel, that's just plain good. Fits in your hand, good. Easy to open, great. Easy to eat, even greater. It gives you the energy to keep doing whatever you're doing. And it tastes darn good, too. All right, good talk. Grab a payday bar and get back to doing. Payday. Get to it.
If you can get a signal on your smartphone, then you can listen live to Money Radio. Download our app for free and never miss a moment of the great advice.
Join certified financial planner Nancy Fleming this and every Wednesday afternoon as she joins me for Financial Review. Nancy and I discuss an array of topics from Social Security, taxes, to what types of obstacles you can and will face in retirement. So join Nancy every Wednesday afternoon at 4:35 for the Financial Review. Want more, Nancy? Be sure to tune in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for My Smart Retirement, right here on Money Radio.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-865-0116 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-865-0116 to take your call now. Call 1-800-865-0116. That's 1-800-865-0116. Again, 1-800-865-0116.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Arizona Army National Guard. Aired by the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you cast your vote in the upcoming election, you connect with issues that hit close to home. Visit azcleanelections.gov for voter resources and tools, and vote informed on August 28th.
I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. U.S. officials are probing a transcontinental network of real estate, weapons, and electronic firms for ties to 2 Lebanese men blacklisted for their alleged support of terrorist group Hezbollah. The U.S. Treasury probe of the Lebanon-based network comes as the Trump administration ramps up pressure against Iran and its proxies like Hezbollah. Under scrutiny are individuals and companies tied to 2 men sanctioned in 2014 for purchasing sophisticated electronics for Hezbollah to develop military drones. The U.S. economy grew at the strongest pace in nearly 4 years during the second quarter. The Commerce Department said gross domestic product, the value of all goods and services produced, rose at an annual rate of 4.1%. That report is not helping the stock market today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 83 points. The NASDAQ Composite is down 115. That's Your Money Now.
My number 2 does not look like a number 2. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number 3?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear of flying.
Sound like you? If it does, You could be one of the many people with a digestive condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Even if you don't know what EPI is, you might know the symptoms: frequent diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain. If you have even just one of these symptoms, you could still have EPI, because not everybody experiences EPI the same way, which is why it's so important to open up to your doctor about all your symptoms. And the good news is, EPI is manageable, so don't keep a lid on it. Go to identifyepi.com, complete the symptom checker, and use it to have a conversation with your doctor. Don't keep a lid on it. Visit identifyepi.com. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. We're on our second half, and if you're just tuning in, I got Tom Egan. He is the CEO of FSL in the studio, and we have talked about a lot of stuff. And if you missed the first two segments, I encourage you to go out to our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button, hit the drop down to the third button down, radio show, and you'll catch the first two segments and the rest of the show, obviously, here today. You'll catch about 200 others that we've been bringing to you for the last 5 years. Yeah, it's hard to believe I'm doing this for 5 years.
Well, you got such a nice radio voice,
Well, thank you, Tom. And you got a great voice, too. And, you know, we've just barely scratched the surface of what FSL does. And it is amazing, you know, what you have talked about in terms of what you do. We talked about in the first segment, we talked about adult day health centers, and there are 3 of them here through the valley. And you also talked about in the second segment, we talked about this aging demographic. And, you know, we got these baby boomers that are getting into this space, and the needs are just growing by leaps and bounds. And one of the needs that I want to talk about in this segment is transportation. So when we poll older adults, the first thing that they say is aging in place is number one. And you talked about the number being 87%. I've heard as high as 92%. But they want to age in place.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we talked about in the second segment, and I encourage our listening audience, if you missed it, was talking about home modifications, because that's something that you guys have a competency in. And if you're not doing it on a large scale, at least you can talk to the caller that calls in and maybe refer some people to take a look at the home. Because you don't need to be moved into an assisted living or a skilled or independent living community just because you needed a modification done in your bathroom.
Right. Well, and you could stretch out your retirement dollars too. I mean, I don't know the costs for assisted living these days, but you could
$3,500 to $10,000 a week, a month. I mean,
you could run through someone's estate really, really quickly. Where, you know, some in-home services like Cypress provides or FSL provides, you could really stretch it out longer. So sometimes making that investment in modification, if that allows the person to stay at home, is going to go a lot further.
Exactly. So let's talk about transportation, because that is a great need. And, you know, what are you seeing out there as it relates to it? And, you know, do you guys help in transportation? What do you guys do?
I mean, we drive a lot of miles, but again, it's limited in scope. So we have buses on the road that are picking up people and taking them to our adult day health centers that we talked about. I mean, we did hundreds of thousands of miles of transportation with that. And that's
really important, because we didn't cover that, Tom. So our listening audience, if you know,
transportation is the barrier, we'll pick them up and get them to the facility as well.
So you'll get them there and bring them back home.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Trying to eliminate that barrier to why someone can't attend.
Right.
And then if you take like the community up in Wickenburg, I mean, there's no public transportation in Wickenburg. We started the Freedom Express. We have transportation where we'll take income-eligible seniors to doctor's appointments, to the grocery store, whatever it be. But again, in the town of Wickenburg, which is still Maricopa County, but a little bit more urban rural, if you will.
And I got to tell you, we get calls to serve that area. I just have a hard time finding caregivers there.
Right. Well, we could do a whole segment on caregiver shortage too. But on the transportation side, there are at least some more options now. With Uber and Lyft coming into the space, there are some things, but If you get somebody with some mobility challenges, that can be harder. The one I'm most excited about is Waymo, which we have a partnership with, really trying to get out ahead of this technology that they're really experts in with the self-driving cars. I think sometimes that can be scary for the population that you and I work with, but if we're looking at having affordable transportation options for people, I think that's the technology there could be something that changes and really helps in this space. But again, we talked about that isolation and transportation being those barriers. You can get transportation, through Dial-A-Ride or whatever for medical appointments, but they're not going to take you to the grocery store. They're not going to take you for something for socialization. So then what do people do? You start relying on friends, family. I think you and I have probably both worked with people who some of the hardest conversations people have to have sometimes is taking the keys away from a parent. I mean, those are really, really difficult situations. I think of my own family. My mother already lives with my sister in Buffalo, New York. And in conversations with my mom, I know she's limiting herself. She already won't drive in the snow, which I don't blame her. I just left Buffalo. That's how I solved that problem.
I didn't know you were from Buffalo, New York. Wow.
So she
Home
won't
of
drive
the
in the
chicken
snow.
wings.
Yes, absolutely. And then and now she won't drive at night. So we were thinking the car that we helped her get a few years ago would be her last vehicle, but she's talking about getting another one. I'm like, Ma, you're already driving less and less. Is that really a good purchase?
Right.
When she could utilize some alternative transportation, but it's hard. It's hard. Those difficult conversations to have.
It's interesting. You talk about transportation, and I've read some statistics. I mean, we look at this generation now who is really embracing the whole shared economy. And, whether you call them Z-Gens, Y-Gen, X-Gen, whatever you want to call them, I understand that over 35% of kids today that are turning 16 years old are not getting their driver's license.
Yeah.
And they don't want the driver's license. It's crazy. When you and I turned 16, it was a rite of passage. It was just like, wow, freedom, independence. I got my driver's license.
Right.
We might not have had a car,
right,
but we had our driver's license. And now kids today don't necessarily want that.
Well, and that is an interesting thing. I've had some conversations with people, and I think this is the fascinating part about that. Again, for you and I, turning 16, I got a car right away. I think it cost $200. It got me A to B and sometimes back to A. But that was independence. That was getting out on the road. That was going out and meeting people outside of your neighborhood. So that was our expanse into the world to find people with shared common interests. Your kids, my son, they have the internet. They've already been exposed to connecting with people with similar interests, shared interests. So, but again, sometimes people need people, not just talking to someone online. So that I think will change. But I've had this conversation with my friends. My son just turned 7. Is the technology going to get there within 10 years where I don't think he'll learn to drive? That's the camp I've been in. I don't think he will learn how to drive. Or driving for him will be like me trying to drive a stick shift. I knew how to do it 25 years ago. If you gave it to me now, I really don't think I could do it.
I think you can do it. I learned to drive on a stick shift too. I think it's
there
like riding a
somewhere.
bike. Exactly. But it's interesting. You talk about this shared economy, and you talk about these kids, and we know statistically that when you purchase an automobile, that as soon as you pull it off the lot, it is an asset that is just depreciating. Yeah. It just lost at least 25 to 30% of its value as soon as you pulled it off the lot. But we also know that 95% of the time that vehicle's sitting and it's not even being used.
Right.
And we know that this shared economy with these kids today, they're all about experiences. So why would I buy a car?
Yeah.
Because I don't need that expense. If I need to get from point A to point B, I'll just call an Uber or Lyft.
Yep. Yeah.
Or I'll get a ride from a friend.
Well, and I think a lot of my millennial friends, they've done the math of car payment, insurance, gas, parking, all the costs related to a vehicle, and said, I can use these car services, basically, and it'll cost me less. how do we get an older generation to embrace that, technology? The apps are pretty easy, but, sometimes I think people could use maybe a little assistance with it, but would be a tremendous thing. But our love affair with the car.
Oh, it's the independence. And I'm going through this with my father, exactly what you're going through with your mother. I mean, they want their independence. And you know what? My father wants to buy a new car. And, I mean, if he wants to buy, go for it. But, I mean, is it really prudent to spend the kind of money you do on a car? And as you mentioned, with the millennial generation, you talk about parking, you talk about insurance, you talk about gas, you talk about car payments. I mean, there is no real good ROI on it at all.
My mom's driving to the grocery store in church at this point.
Exactly.
She turned in I forget what year it was, Toyota Camry. It's in pristine condition with low mileage. It's wonderful for whoever buys it.
And when we were buying cars, at least when I was buying cars for my kids, that's the kind of car I wanted to get.
Right. Yeah.
I wanted to find your mother's car.
Right.
Because it was 10 years old and only had 15,000 miles on it, right? No, so true. And, transportation companies like Envoy America, who I've had here on the show, who does not just curb to curb, but door to door.
Oh,
and then you talk about, Uber and Lyft. And I like that you're working with Waymo because, what's interesting? Waymo, for our listening audience, is Google.
Yes.
And they are the oldest company that has been working with self-driving cars. They've been doing this for about 8 or 9 years. They've logged maybe 3 million miles.
I think they're in the billions now because the cars are running simulations when they're not actually on the road.
It's crazy.
They're, they don't sleep. They don't do drugs. They don't drink alcohol. They're not distracted. They're not texting while they're driving. All they do is drive.
Yeah, all they do is drive. And, we heard about the news about the Uber auto-driving car. And Uber is not Waymo. Waymo's been doing it a long time, and it's interesting that FSL is really looking at that. I also want to talk when we come back in our next segment. You can hear a little bit of the music coming on. Is that you guys are doing some other innovative stuff. I had Kent Dix here on the show. Life 365 is something you guys are playing around with in terms of looking at innovations and way to deliver care in this new decade, this new world that we're living in.
Yeah, love to talk about it.
Well, listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You, we're down our third segment. Tom, it flies by. I've got Tom Egan from FSL. He's the CEO. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Financial market analysis from Market Wrap host Mo Ansari.
Diversification is the key. You have to have diversification in these markets. And if you have all your eggs in one basket, when things go bad, you're going to get hurt.
It's financial food for thought on your drive home. Market Wrap with Mo Ansari.
Catch Market Wrap on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM Monday through Friday at 5 p.m.
This is David Kogan with Eliances, ELIANCES.com. Unlock the secrets to Richard Branson, founder who we interviewed, Big Lots CEO, president of Telemundo, founder of North Face, Chuck E. Cheese founder, and hundreds more. Every Monday at noon and Saturday at 7 a.m. on Money Radio. Go to Eliances.com, ELIANCES.com to unlock the secrets of some of the most successful people in the world. Eliances.com.
An active life? Got it. Nailed it. Finished it. Sometimes leads to this.
When are you going to get that knee checked?
Think drugs or surgery is the only answer to your chronic pain? Now there's a safe and effective alternative. ARP Wave. An FDA-approved medical device delivers electrical waves to muscles, joints, and ligaments to promote healing and speed recovery from injury, surgery, even arthritis, eliminating chronic pain. ARP Wave has been used by over 300,000 patients and thousands of athletes with a 95% success rate. This is a permanent solution to your pain without drugs or surgery. Treatment is right here in Scottsdale. Relieve your pain and feel better after just one 30-minute ARP wave treatment. Now get your first one for free. Go to ArizonaPainClinic.com. That's ArizonaPainClinic.com or call 602-524-9022.
Diabetics with Medicare can now receive free delivery of their supplies. Little to no out-of-pocket cost. 800-430-7923.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're on our fourth segment. And if you're just tuning in, I've got Tom Egan, the CEO from FSL, here in the studio, and that was a little bit of Loverboy, believe it or not, working for the weekend. Thank you very much, Wes. And
you're welcome.
Do you have a cowbell there to mimic that sound? I like that cowbell. That is awesome.
I'll have to grab it.
Well, listen, if you missed the first three segments, you can catch them right up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button, drop down to the third button down, radio show. We've covered a lot of territory here. And it's hard to believe we're down on our fourth segment here, Tom. And I want to kind of just wrap things up. And, you know, I kind of gave a tease for the Life 365 Kent Dix in our last segment. You know, the thing I marvel about FSL is that you guys, while you're an established social service organization that has been here for 44 years, since you came in, it's been, what, 6 years?
Almost 4.
Almost 4 years?
Yep.
Seems like you've been here forever. But
I'm aging in dog years. That's what running a nonprofit will do for you.
So since you've come, you've embraced some really innovative stuff. And, you know, we talked about in the last segment about Waymo. You're testing that out. And you're also looking at Life 365, which is a disruptor.
Yeah.
And it's a way that we can keep people, as we talked about in the first segment, aging in place.
Right.
So that they can stay there. And, you know, we want to make sure that they can stay safe.
Right.
And one of the things that, you know, you said we could take a whole, you know, we could talk the whole show about is caregiver shortage. And we know the numbers are scary, scary, scary in terms of how short we are in terms of the level and number of caregivers that are available. And I will say this to you, Tom, and I know I've said it here on the show. I'm not so sure there is a caregiver shortage per se. I just don't think we've done a really good job of educating consumers out there what a rewarding experience it is to help your fellow brother and sister.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're not talking about just wiping butts, because I think people think about that. It's that companionship and assistance and helping somebody maybe get dressed in the morning, maybe help them with their meals, remind them about their medications and driving them to appointments.
Right.
And I'm going to take this advantage right now, this moment, and say we're looking for caregivers at Cypress. So if you're listening in and you know somebody that is that caring spirit, that's person that wants to make a difference in someone's life, call our office at 602-264-8009. We're looking for caregivers. And I know Care by Design is your home and community-based service company. You guys are looking for caregivers. So call over at 602-285-1800. Ask for Care by Design. We're looking for people. And what a rewarding experience. You don't even need experience to come work for Cypress or come work for FSL. They have the Caregiver Training Lab and the Caregiver House. We have the Caregiver Training Lab. We can teach you those skill sets on how to help and assist somebody aging in place.
Well, thank you for that.
No, you're welcome. You know, as we wrap up our show, I want to, you know, just have you really leave some leaving thoughts with our listening audience about FSL. You know, one of the things that I went to your website and I saw right away is you have an appeal to anybody that comes out there, and it says vote for FSL. Tell us a little bit of what is this vote for?
Yeah, so we were selected as one of the finalists. I think there's 19 finalists for the Phoenix Business Journal Stories Edition. Yep, you've got it right in front of you.
Right
so,
here.
you know, we just highlighted one client that we were taking care of in an affordable housing community that we operate. But people can help we need your vote. So it's a competition, and you know, when you're competing against charities that have kids and puppies, sometimes it's harder. So we could use all the votes we can get. But we are one of the finalists. There are 3 grants for the voters who get the most votes, between $5,000 and $10,000, and you can get more information on how to vote on our website, fsl.org, or you can find us on Facebook at FSL Helps.
Nice. Absolutely nice. And you know what? It isn't puppies and it isn't children, but, older adults and the work that you guys are doing and making differences in people's lives every day is amazing.
Well, there was a fascinating, different topic, but a fascinating article I was reading where, you talked about being in the baby boomer generation, the most philanthropic generation we've ever had. And they've built schools, they've built the museums, they've taken care of kids and puppies and all these things. And now the generation's getting to a point of maybe they need to start looking at how do we help our own. And I think when we start talking about aging services or services for seniors, not always has that same appeal as kids and puppies. I joke about that, but it's going to be interesting to see if that baby boomer generation's focus, philanthropic focus, shifts to helping some folks in their own generation.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Real quickly, how many people do you guys employ?
About 425.
425. Wow. And you got a really nice campus right there at, what's it,
12th Street and Thomas. Yes.
12th Street and Thomas.
Yeah. But we have locations all around the state. With the affordable housing work we do, we have 23 affordable housing communities around the state of Arizona in every corner of this state. And we have 5 new communities that are in some start of a new construction.
Right.
It's a lot of projects at the same time, but affordable housing is a huge barrier for people in their independence, especially if you're living on a fixed income. So we can't build enough.
Well, I can see why you're aging in dog years. Man, it's a lot of things to keep track of, Tom. You've done an amazing job in just such a short time.
Well, thank you.
And I'm proud to not only have you here on the show, but call you my friend and keep plugging away, doing this great work. And I want to turn the microphone over to you just for these last 10 or 20 seconds. What lasting remarks would you like to leave our listening audience about FSL?
I think we're all going to be in that place where we're either going to be a caregiver, we're going to need a caregiver. And I think if you talk of aging as our issue, as FSL's issue, that affects all of us. So anything you can do to help FSL, visit our website, fsl.org, or if you find yourself in need, give us a call, 602-285-1800.
Tom, thank you for being on the show. Make it a great day.
Friend.
Have a great weekend. We'll be back here next Friday. Wellness Roundtable with Dr. David Spear. Make it a great day.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Bill Gunderson's nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Money Radio 1510
and 105.3 FM.
KFNN Mesa, Phoenix, and K287BX Mesa. You're listening to the Valley's only source for full-time financial news and money talk on the radio, Money Radio. Take a look at your numbers. Dow down 83 points at 25,443. S&P down 19 at 2818. And NASDAQ down 116 at 7736.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin